Chapter 16. I still don't know how this happened. You always check the VIN number. Always. It may look like the right vehicle, it may be the right color, make, model, and year, but you always check the vehicle identification number. Checking the VIN is required. But checking the VIN doesn't always guarantee that mistakes won't be made. VIN numbers don't make mistakes. Repo men make mistakes. One of the dumbest things I ever did was to pick up the wrong car in broad daylight. And there is absolutely no excuse for it, but I did it. I had been looking for a red Ford Explorer in Arab, Alabama. The given home address of the debtor wasn't any good. She didn't live there, and we couldn't track her down. The finance company learned that she was working at a nursing home in Arab. Well, I drove over one day, and the vehicle wasn't in the parking lot, and I went in and asked for the debtor, and they told me that she is off today, but she'd be back tomorrow, and so I thought I'd just come back. So the next day, bright and early, I drove to Arab. Driving around behind the building, sure enough, there's a bright, shiny red SUV. It was parked in a parking spot right next to the nursing home. In fact, it was right by the front door. The front bumper is almost touching the building, and it's only a space or two from the door of the business. I don't know what happened. I guess I got preoccupied with picking it up so close to the building and worried about not getting caught. And I didn't even think about checking the VIN. So it's where it gets crazy. I mean, I backed up to the car. I grabbed the rear wheels with the wheel lift. And in order not to be seen by anyone in the nursing home, instead of driving back around front, I just drove across the back lawn of the nursing home and went across to an apartment complex and pulled in front of an apartment out of sight of the nursing home to strap down the car and put the drag lights on it and call the police to report the repossession. I got out of the truck, and this is when I noticed that Explorer looked funny. It looked more like a Ford Expedition, and in fact it was a Ford Expedition, a red Ford Expedition. A red Ford Expedition is not a red Ford Explorer. I had obviously neglected to check the VIN. No need to check the VIN now. I'd picked the wrong car. What am I going to do? This is not good. Way to go, dummy. I thought, well, I'll just leave it here and leave, but that ain't going to work. That ain't the right thing to do. So I hit on this great solution. I hopped back into the wrecker, and with the Expedition still hooked up, I drove around the apartment building and back across the lawn to the nursing home parking lot. Now, I had pulled it out of a space up there by the building, but I had to worm my way through parked cars to get out of there. And so I'm not going to try to put this car back in the parking space where I took it. It's too close to the building, and it'd take too long. I need to get out of here. I need to saturate this place with my absence. It was in the far end of the parking lot where I set the car down. It was the nearest parking place I could find to where I got off the grass. And so I just set it out there at the edge of the parking lot, and I left. I left it there nice and neat. Nothing ever happened to it. I still have no explanation for why. I must have had something else on my mind. There's no excuse for it, but thankfully, I got away with it. I've always wondered what the owner of the Expedition thought at the end of the long shift at a nursing home when they came out and they go to get in her nice red car where she'd parked it that morning by the building, and it's not there. Did she call the police? Did she look around and see it sitting somewhere else in the parking lot? I mean, I hope she found it without a lot of trouble. Did she rack her brain trying to remember when she had moved it? How did it get out there? Did she accuse her husband of playing a joke? Playing a joke on her by moving her car while she was at work? Did he angrily deny that he had ever been there and moved her car, and they got so mad at each other that quit speaking to each other, and eventually, after months of animosity, they ended up in divorce? I hope not. That was a bad one.